Have you ever watched an English dub for a foreign movie or perhaps a low-budget film and noticed that things looked a little off and the mouth movements were not quite matching up with the words that were actually being said? If you've experienced this, don't worry, you're likely not the only person that noticed. There are many reasons that those films look weird, but in most cases, it's due to the audio and video not being synced properly. Hey, can we stop with the whole blood font thing? I mean, I know you found it, but it's really detracting from the educational nature of this video. Come on, man, were you even listening to what I just said? Stop the whole blood font thing, man. You get really annoying like this all the time, every time. You don't even pay your rent. If you keep doing that, I'm gonna put you outside like an animal where you can sleep in the cold.
Okay, jeez, man, I'm just trying to have a little fun. You could be such a buzzkill like all the time, man. Kind of starting to bum me out. With all your yelling and stuff, it's like deteriorating, like mentally, like.
Hello there, I'm Brian, and in this video I will show you how to sync audio and video correctly, so that you can avoid having any issues with this in future projects. Let's get started. One of the most commonly used methods for syncing audio and videos is by making a very quick and loud noise. You can do this by using a clapperboard or even just clapping your hands. This sound will be used as a reference during post-production and should be the very first thing you do after pressing record on your camera and audio interface. It is also helpful to have your camera recording audio as well, so that you can marry the sound recorded from the audio interface without having to eyeball things. If your camera is not capable of recording audio, or the audio is corrupted, you can still sync the audio and video together by listening to the very start of the sound and looking for the moment the clapper or your hands make complete contact. If you forgot to sync the audio in the beginning of your recording, you can still sync them at any part of the recording, just so long as you are still recording. If you did stop the recording, you can still try to sync the audio, just so long as it's something simple like a person talking. This can still be pretty tedious, so you need to try and match what you see to what you hear as close as possible by going from frame to frame until it's mostly synced. Another reason your sound might not match with the video you recorded could be due to a difference in the video frame rate or bad formatting, and in most situations will result in you needing to re-record a new take or attempt to have the sound match the video speed. In professional live broadcasts where people need to work fast, technicians don't have enough time to sync the audio by using a sound reference. So instead, they use what's called a time code, which all of the equipment is attached to. This way, software can look at the time code and sync everything together very quickly. Let's review what we learned about syncing audio just after recording starts. You can use a clapperboard or your hands to make a loud, sharp crack that can be used later in post-production to help you sync the audio and video. You could try to eyeball it, but that approach isn't really recommended. You can use a time code in live broadcasts or other live settings to sync audio and video. Please note that your equipment must have native support for time codes or will be unable to use this feature. Now that we've discussed how to sync audio and video during production, let's continue into post-production. In the next part of this video, I want you to follow along with what I do in Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve. The videos I'll be using have been linked in the description below. Got everything? Perfect. Let's start with how to sync audio and video in Premiere Pro. In this part of the video, I will show you what you need to do during post-production in order to sync audio and video together. I will also show you how to properly process audio so that it can sound professional and comply with industry standards as closely as possible. For this demonstration, I'll be using Adobe Premiere Pro. Start by making a new project and naming it to AV Sync. Select the audio and video files you downloaded earlier and press Create to start the new project. If your audio and video tracks are not already in your timeline, like here, you can go here, double-click them, and drag them to your timeline. Make sure you have your audio on a separate track than the camera audio. If you look at the audio from the camera and recording interface, you should see a little spike where the sound of the clapperboard is. This spike serves as a point of reference so we can get an idea of where the sound happens. Turn off snapping, select either your audio or video, and try and match those spikes up as best you can. Once you've done this, press play on your transport and check if you can hear any echo. If you hear echoing, move the arrow keys on your keyboard to move frame by frame until the start of the sound happens when the clapperboard is closed. As you can see here, the sound happens when the clapperboard is closed. Rewind it a bit and press play to verify that the audio matches up. Next, you're going to want to press mute on your camera's audio because you do not want that coming through and causing phasing issues with the recording audio. Now you can press play and check to see if your video and audio have synced correctly. Take two. Let's move on to what we need to do to process and mix our audio so that it sounds professional. In your Adobe Premiere workspace, go up to the top left panel and click Audio Clip Mixer. This allows you to change your clip levels and panning. Let's take two. If you see your meter turn red, or if you hear audible distortion, this is known as clipping and is unprofessional and sounds very bad. Clipping audio is very hard on the ears and difficult to process. So ensure your levels are set correctly. Next, you're going to want to EQ your audio. This helps eliminate any unwanted noises or frequencies that may be in your raw audio file. To EQ your audio, go to Effect Controls in the top left panel, go to the lower left panel until you see the Effects library, and under Filter and EQ, click Parametric Equalizer. Press Edit, and your EQ is right here. You can play your video over and over and over again, and change these parameters to ensure that the unwanted frequency has been removed. You can either boost or lower certain frequencies. Two. You can also bypass the effect by pressing the Bypass the Effect button. That's take two. And your sound is normal again. EQing your audio has very good results and will help you sound more and more professional. But note that it is not ideal for beginners starting out with this sort of thing. So you don't always have to EQ your audio, but it is advised if you know how. Just listen to the sound and play around until you get something that sounds right or better than it did before. In some cases, you may be unable to EQ or silence a certain sound. This is okay though, you don't need to. It just ends up sounding nicer and is easier on people's ears, whether they realize it or not. Sometimes your audio interface may record in only one channel. If this happens to you, right-click on your audio, press Audio Channels, and select the correct type. You can also preview different audio channels. This seemingly insignificant and simple task helps your audio go a long way and make your audience's listening experience much better. Next, I'm going to show you how to do this in DaVinci Resolve. Once you're in the project editor, press File, Import, and Media. Next, find your footage, select your footage, and press Open. In some situations, your project frame rate may matter, but for this time, I'm not going to change it. In the top left corner of your screen, select your audio and video, click and drag them to your timeline, and let go. Next, to process your audio and video, go into Edit. Now you can see your audio and video. Make sure snapping has been disabled, click your audio or video, and line up your audio reference like you did in Premiere until you can see them match. Then press play to verify your work. Perfect. Congratulations. If you've reached the end of this video, that means that you now know how to properly sync and process audio and video together in both Adobe Premiere and DaVinci Resolve. I'm Brian Bates. Thank you for watching, and come back later for more.